of all, I think we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you all stand for me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and the roll call.
Supervisor Diamond. Here. Trustee Jones. Yes. Trustee Howard. Here. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Department heads Matinski. Here. Diane.
Here.
Hudson.
Here.
So Trustee Asif said he would be here later, would be here tonight, so perhaps we will see him a little bit later this evening. But we will get started so as to try to get to our agenda. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is one of our agency funding special meetings in which we hear from various agencies who we have, some of whom we've funded in the past and may fund again in the future. And we hear about the work that they do and what they use the funds for and why they will need them in the upcoming year. So we have from each one of these agency an application which they've already filled out, which we've had a chance to review. And the purpose of our meeting tonight is to hear from the representatives from each one of these agencies and possibly ask them some questions. So we'll get started in just a second, and I just wanted to mention to anyone who's here, it is sort of a chilly and rainy night, so we did make some coffee, and you're welcome to help yourself to some, which is just over to the side over there if you wish to do so. But at the same time, we'll be getting started too. So the first one we have on our list for tonight is District 63, Education Foundation for Expanded Learning. And the representative that we have here tonight is Angelica Shutt. Angelica, would you like to step up to the microphone?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Expanded Learning is a program that operates all of the out-of-school programs for the school district.
Set the microphone on. Here.
There we go.
There we go.
That's better. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So District 63's out-of-school time programs are all operated through Expanded Learning. And this academic year marks the 22nd year that these services have been available to Maine Township and District 63 residents. The foundation, the District 63 Educational Foundation, exists to sustain the accessibility of those programs as they're delivered to our residents and to support the delivery of resources to families and community members who are in need. We offer out-of-school time programs that have grown considerably over the past several years to provide as many wraparound services to our families as possible. We have summer camp programming that's available for the entire summer camp, summer break, summer vacation for District 63's calendar. So families aren't left shuffling and scrambling to find childcare for their kids who are school aged. We have break programs and schools out day programs and half day programs, as well as the standard before and after school care, which provides vital services to families who need that child care if they have to work or other commitments that they have throughout the day to be able to support their families. Our programs are available at an affordable rate to our families. There is also a sliding scale, which can include a full scholarship to those children who qualify. Children come to our programs, they have quality activities, they have trusted adults to help facilitate those and build relationships with, and they get a healthy snack, and it's a familiar place for them to be after school. In addition to after-school programs and other out-of-school time programs, we also have Open Gym, which is a drop-in program for middle school-aged youth at Gemini Middle School. And I'm sure you may know that these programs, such as ours, they're pretty similar to YMCA's and Boys and Girls Clubs, none of which we have in our community. And we do have youth that, our population in the district is made up of over half of our students are free or reduced lunch. So not having some programs like that, enrichment programs for youth like that, would be detrimental to this community. So we're glad that we can fill that gap and fill that role for the community. The foundation has continued to support these efforts at expanded learning by providing funding for scholarships and to continue to operate open gym programs and things that of that nature, as well as to maintain costs at a low affordable rate, as well as a sliding fee scale that I mentioned. We've also strengthened our partnership with Maine Township. This past summer, we were able to provide 600 weekend snack bags to kids who are experiencing food insecurity with the partnership of the Maine Township Food Pantry. And so we were able to receive that from Maine Township and give that off to the appropriate students. We're continuing that partnership into this school year and facilitating the delivery of weekend snack bags to students in need across the whole district. The foundation's support of expanded learning, alongside with Maine Township's support of the foundation, helps to bridge accessibility gaps for children who are in need of quality care and provide enrichment opportunities to those students. Keeping costs low is extremely important for us. We understand that things like summer camp and all these things can be a luxury to many, but to many they're also a life necessity, and we don't want to be out of price for those families. Our agency budget for the year is currently $35,000, and we are requesting $25,000 from the township, which I understand is a significant amount compared to our full budget. We have made strides to increase our donations. Currently, they are in-kind donations in value with partnerships with different businesses around to be able to support one of our new initiatives, which is the Marketplace, which is a food pantry-like place, but also has clothing and backpacks and school supplies and other items that are important for families. And we've partnered with local businesses like Panera and Costco, to name a couple, and through those partnerships we're able to provide an inventory. And we're working on collecting more grants, and right now we are applying for grants through Walmart and other cyber grant opportunities for the foundation to be able to continue to support that initiative.
I'll just interject here and ask if anyone has any questions, any of the board members or our staff. Yes, sir?
Looking at your sliding fee scale, I think I get tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and full scholarship. So partial scholarship is just based on income. Do you know what they have to be below to qualify for partial?
So we go along the lines of the USDA food program income eligibility guidelines. And so we follow those. If families are below that, we can certainly talk about increasing their scholarship. We also put them into contact with other local agencies, whether it's Action for Children or other scholarship opportunities for their children to be able to attend different programs to help the family of the subsidy.
All right. So I think we probably have gone through the questions that we have. We do have the packet here. So I think at this point, I just want to thank you very much for your presentation. If there's anything else that you want to get quickly, that's fine, but otherwise I think we have your application, the information, and apparently our questions answered.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to continuing our collaboration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You know, and looking at the agenda here, I realized that I neglected to ask if there were any requests for public participation. That is, not if you're here for an agency, but if you just wish to make public comment. Hearing none, I'll move on. And we'll go to the next one. Before I do that, I do want to note that we have on our agenda scheduled about 10 minutes for each agency. So if you want to use, like 5 to 7 minutes to tell us about your agency and then leave a little time for questions, that would be good. All right, so the next one that I have on my list here would be older adult services, home delivered meals. Are you a representative of that?
I am.
And evidently, perhaps you have some injured.
Yes, this is Mindy Hacklin from the Older Adult Services, or Home Delivery Meals.
Thank you. All right, I see that you are the grant contact person, is that right?
Correct.
Thank you very much. We've got your application here. Why don't you go ahead if we have some address that you'd like to give to us.
So thanks for taking the time tonight. It's always nice to actually come and see everybody in person. Kind of sounds funny, but it's true. My name's Mindy, and I've been with Lutheran General, Advocate Lutheran General Older Adult Services, Aging in Place here for 21 years. I've been doing these presentations here for 18 years, and I look forward to it every year. I usually have a colleague with me, but she wasn't able to attend tonight, so I'm the lonely ranger here, but we'll get through it pretty quickly. Older Adult Services has an array of programs, but really we're here tonight just to talk to you a little bit about home delivered meals and what that is for Maine Township and how this grant that we applied for helps. Let me just tell you that this summer, Home Delivered Meals has been in existence for 50 years, so it was a big milestone. The hospital did a little blurb about it in their newsletter to all the staff. So we've been here for 50 years. It began under the Service League 40 years ago. It was transitioned to our department. It just got too big and they weren't able to handle it at that time. All the food for home delivered meals is prepared at Lutheran General Hospital, which is kind of nice because they can cater to any dietary restriction. We see a lot of seniors now in the community who are renal, gluten-free, neutropenic, mechanical, and puree. And being that we can get the food right from the hospital, we can cater to any of those dietary needs. The meals are delivered Monday through Friday during lunchtime, so it's a hot meal that's delivered from about 11:30 to 1. We have about 20 to 25 volunteers that deliver the food in the community. On any given day, it's between about 25 meals. Some days are a little higher, it just depends if people are at doctors or something like that. And I have to say that over the years, the meal program has grown. So it seems to be a need more so now than I would tell you 10 years ago. Especially during the pandemic, obviously with everything shut down, we stopped briefly, but we continue the meals. Before anybody can begin the program, I go out into the home and I do an in-home assessment. It's a free in-home assessment just to make sure that we're serving the person who needs the meals and they're not, maybe driving and there's nothing wrong with them, or they're just really too lazy to cook. So we look, are they homebound? How are they getting their meals? Why is there a need now? And anything else that we can refer them to while we're in the home. After we complete the in-home assessment, I do send a note to the primary physician to make sure that there's no dietary restrictions that they didn't tell us about. I just did an assessment in Maine Township Park Ridge earlier this week, and he said he was on a general diet, and the doctor wrote back mechanical diet, which is the chopped up food that he needs for swallowing issues, and he's also on a low potassium diet. So it's good. After I called him and said we got the note from the doctor, he said, oh yeah, well it should be. So better that we check and just stir food to someone who is going to eat the wrong diet. It's a fee for service, and they pay for the meal. There is a sliding scale, and that's where Maine Township would help out. They have pay for, sometimes the participant can pay for one meal, and then they need 2 meals that day, and that's where the grant would help pay for the second meal if they're unable to do that. We have a lot of people who are in the gap, and the gap meaning they don't meet the requirements to get a free meal through a form of public aid, and they are having a hardship case where they really can't afford 2 hot meals every day of the week. And that's how when we go out, we figure out what's going on and what their income is, and if they say they can't afford it, well, why aren't they getting the free meals and vice versa? So there's a big group right here that's in this like donut gap, so to speak. Obviously with COVID, all the deliveries that we're doing are contactless, So we're trying the best to have a barrier between us and the participant who's getting the food. We're packaging them a little bit differently, so we're not touching them as much. And all the volunteers are currently wearing masks. So it's kind of weird to present here because we're still at the hospital under the masking mandate. Trying to think, what else I can tell you. It's a need. We have a small area in Rosemont that's Maine Township. And I always tell you about a terrible story, but I'm going to share a wonderful story briefly. A lady who was severely depressed, alone in an apartment in Rosemont, Maine Township. Her son reached out, he was out of state. She was just so underweight, they wouldn't even give her COVID vaccine. She was way underweight, super depressed. He said, let's start the meals, and we did. And we started the meals a couple days a week. She's up to 5 days per week. She's put on 15 pounds. She was able to get her vaccine, which she wanted. And I saw also last year get a flu shot, which they wouldn't give to her because she was too malnourished to even get that. But she's written a beautiful letter. I always wonder if I should include it, like in a card, that she wrote to our program, just saying how the home delivered meal program literally has saved her life. And since then, she's been engaging a little bit more activities and stuff, which is really good to hear. So when you have something like that, it kind of hits home and it feels good, So.
Okay, any questions from our staff? From board members? No. I have one question. I think another not-for-profit is Center for Concern, and they do some congregate meals and prepare some meals too. And I was just wondering, do you serve the same areas, or what, if any, differences are there between the meals you prepare and the ones they prepare that are not the congregate meals, but the delivered meals?
They have a very small area that they are bringing meals to. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're the frozen meals that they deliver, and it's once a week, where ours is the hot meal daily.
Okay.
And ours are really for at-risk, homebound seniors. So they can't get out, they can't go to congregate dining. They just really can't get to a place where there would be able to be a meal delivery, where they would go and get the food. So they're seniors in Maine Township that are homebound, for whatever reason. Our longest participant has been with us for 9 years. He turned 100 this summer. And I actually was one of the ones that assessed him. So he started when he was like 90, 91, he turned 100. So, and as he progresses, his disease, whatever he has, diagnoses progress, and then he went from a regular to a diabetic. Now he's diabetic cardiac, and now he's diabetic cardiac mechanical. So we're able to cater and keep him on and serve him. He's at home bound, can't get out. So it's kind of nice.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good seeing you.
Can you tell us who's checking next?
Yes, next with Roy from Attorney Employment Behavioral Health Care Center.
And I'm sorry, who's the person?
Roy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Hello.
Yes, different on the application.
Okay. All right. Yes. I'm sorry, sir. Would you state your full name again, please?
It's Noe Friel Lopez.
What?
Hi. Noe.
All right. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you for the opportunity to share a turning point with you this evening. I'm Noe Friel Lopez, Chief Clinical Officer at Turning Point. We are a community mental health center. We've been around for more than 50 years with a mission of providing solid support when needed most. We serve approximately 1,400 clients per year. 12% of those are children, and 90% of them are low income. Over the last fiscal year, we served 110 clients from Maine Township. We don't have a catchment area, so as long as folks can get to us, we will serve them. But our building is open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 8, and Friday from 9 to 4. Insurance and fees only cover about 57% of our expenses, so the support from Maine Township really helps to meet that gap. We are accredited by CARD with the highest accreditation in 3 years. Typical community mental health center offer outpatient services for folks from age 6 and up, working with diagnoses from adjustment disorder, more chronic persistent mental illnesses, like schizophrenia, bipolar, major depression. We offer individual therapy, family therapy, groups, and couples as well. In fact, our groups program, our community support groups program is pretty robust. Pre-COVID, we offered more than 50 groups per week. As we return to more in-person services, we're back to approximately 30 groups per week. And these groups would be skills-based. We're helping clients learn how to do basic budgeting, cooking, cleaning, to more process-oriented groups like trauma and grief. And then there's also groups out in the community as well. We have a team of case managers to help our clients gain Medicaid, Medicare, and get referred or linked with other support services like medical, dental, and so on. Our team also works with our residential program. We have 24 slots with apartments in Skokie as well as Des Plaines. While in the program, our clients work towards independent living, and our case managers are with them throughout this process, including being out in the community, like at the banks or the doctor's office or looking at the transportation system. Folks interested in services just need to call our main number, and our open access or intake team will respond to clients within 24 hours to start the process of doing the assessment. Ideally, that same clinician will be the clinician they will work with moving forward. This year, we've had some evolution in our crisis program. Our emergency services is now mobile, so it's a mobile crisis response team tied to the national 988 number, and we are continuing to work with the state to keep moving forward with that. Connected to that. Our living room, also under our crisis program, is available 24/7 now. I'm sorry, 12 to 8, 365 days a year. What's new about that is we're working with the City of Evanston and St. Francis Hospital to build a second location in Evanston on the St. Francis Hospital grounds. We continue to work on our diversity, equity, inclusion, as well as our trauma-informed care support as an agency. And we look forward to continuing to work with Maine Township as well. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members here?
What other township doesn't really get this? What other townships contribute to you guys? It says the two others.
Maine Township, Northfield.
Northfield and
There's one other.
yeah, thanks. It said two.
Niles.
And it's about the same they contribute.
Niles is a little bigger.
It's like second last.
Okay, thank you.
Do you happen to know what the percentage of the residents you serve, like what percentage is from Maine Township versus Niles versus the township you serve?
Out of 1,400 last year, 110 were from Maine Township.
I see it. Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions from our department heads?
Noah, can you comment on your current staffing levels and wait list for services?
Sure, yeah, we have openings for CNA therapists. We are fully staffed for our crisis program, for the new 988 program. Our wait list right now is about 3 months, depending on the type of insurance and whether or not the client has preferences for days, times, and type of therapist, and that could be mine.
How many openings do you have?
In terms of staffing,
For staffing, yeah.
we're looking to hire 2 more CNA therapists.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Can you clarify, you were just referring to insurance, so some of your clients have insurance that pays for the service, is that right?
Correct. Medicaid, private insurance.
All right.
Hiring 2 more
Child adolescent therapists
child what?
and adolescent therapists.
I'm sorry.
Child and adolescent therapists. Sure.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.
And let me reiterate that anyone who would like to have some coffee, as we are doing, there is a pot of coffee just outside that door there. So you're welcome to help yourself. Evan, can you tell us who's up next?
Yeah, sorry. Next, we'll, with the wings, incorporate with Lutetia for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It'll be Melanie Nadi with Children's Advocacy Center. My apologies.
All right, fine. Melanie Pignoni?
Vignati.
Okay, sorry. All right, we have your application here, and if you would like to take about 5 minutes to supplement what you said in the application, that's fine, and then we ask a few questions.
Great, thank you so much. Good evening, and thank you again for the opportunity to briefly present to you all this evening. My name is Melanie Pignati, and I'm the newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the North and Northwest Cook County Children's Advocacy Center. Mark Tarr served as our long-serving Executive Director for 23 years and had an excellent relationship with Maine Township, and so I worked under him. He's my mentor and a good friend, and hope to continue that relationship with you all. The CAC provides a comprehensive and coordinated response to reports of suspected child sexual abuse, physical abuse, and other crimes against children. We currently serve 38 communities in the north and northwest suburbs of Chicago, including the communities of Maine Township, all unfortunately impacted by violence. That also includes 39 police departments that we receive referrals from. The CAC receives referrals from law enforcement and/or DCFS to conduct a neutral, child-friendly, and developmentally appropriate forensic interview during criminal investigations involving children and adolescents. We coordinate services with a multidisciplinary team, which includes the CAC staff, law enforcement, DCFS investigators, the Cook County State Attorney's Office, medical professionals, and mental health professionals for each case. We have trained forensic interviewers to conduct these interviews with children ages 3 up to 17 or adults with developmental or cognitive disabilities. Each child and their non-offending caregiver is assigned a CAC family victim advocate to provide crisis intervention, support, case management, and linkages to services and resources throughout the entire life of a case, including prosecution if there are charges for court advocacy. Acute and non-acute medical services are assessed for each child, and the CAC helps coordinate to ensure we receive an appropriate exam by a sexual assault nurse examiner or a board-certified child abuse pediatrician. Lastly, our family advocates ensure mental health referrals are made, whether in-house within our agency or other community services. Our counseling services are provided by our trauma therapists, which can include individual, family, or group counseling. Our main location is in Hoffman Estates. We have a team of therapists housed in Streamwood. Our newest office is in Skokie and includes a forensic interviewer, a family advocate, and 3 trauma therapists. And this is where the most, where most residents from Maine Township would come for their services. All services are free of charge. That is per our national accreditation standards. They must always remain free. And so, of course, financial support is very significant to our agency. During our last fiscal year, the CAC served 47 children and their families from Maine Township. This was about 14% of the total amount of unduplicated clients we served total for the year. The CAC continues to ask for financial support from Maine Township to support our essential services. Our biggest needs right now include infrastructure, administrative support, and salary support for our specially trained and very valued employees. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from our board members?
There's a comment, 28% of your funding comes from private donors.
Yes, we have a pretty robust development team, and we have relationships with individual donors, and I'm part of that now as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's impressive. A little bit higher than some of these offers.
It's a lot of work.
So some of your funding comes from Cook County. Is it the circuit court that you get money from, or?
We have, we used to get fees and fines from the court districts, but it was replaced by a different type of grant that's split by the other children's advocacy centers in Cook County. So I think we receive around $100,000 from the county, but it's not directly from the boards anymore.
Skokie officer said it has a forensic therapist.
So we have a forensic interviewer there, a victim advocate, and then we have 3 trauma therapists, and they're all located together now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the donation.
I have Kevin, can you tell us who's next here?
Yes, now will be the Wings program incorporated with this Tisha Fiorito.
Please step.
It's okay, it's okay.
Fiorito?
Fiorito, yes.
All right. Please, we'd like to hear your presentation, about 5 minutes, and perhaps supplement what's in your application.
Absolutely.
And then we may have some questions.
Of course, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you again for your time this evening, for allowing Wings to continue. I've been in this role for 3 years, and I know that Wings has benefited from Maine Township's support for more than a decade. Through a dedicated board of directors and an aggressive strategic plan, Wings has made sound fiscal decisions, and we've also made through an aggressive, has grown exponentially. In fiscal year 22, while the world was turned upside down, Wings decided to, and Wings Board of Directors and its current C-suite, our Chief Executive Officer, and the Program Officer, and our Financial Officer, decided that we needed to reduce our overhead by eliminating the Chief Development Officer position. This took out of that budget, took out of that overhead, and by allowing us to promote from within. We do have we have a very powerful development team within us, and so we were able to, by reducing that position, we were able to promote from within and maximize the talent that we currently had. We just felt that that role wasn't producing what we needed it to, and so we ended that commitment. As I mentioned, we also grew exponentially. In fiscal year 22, Wings entered the rapid rehousing realm through 2 separate contracts, one with Abnagar and one with Northwest Compass. Between those 2 contracts, we were able to create 110 rapid rehousing units throughout Northwest Cook County and through the city of Chicago. As we've entered into fiscal year 23, our fiscal years of July through June, we have now been awarded an additional 90 rapid rehousing units through HUD having specialized DD bonus money to go towards domestic violence agencies. Wings is very fortunate that we have such support, such as Maine Township, such as such contracts as I've mentioned. And we have also, just like I said, we continue to grow. Also our supportive services that are also available, of course, to Maine Township residents. As many of your agencies have probably also looked back on and referenced, over these past 3 years, Wings has also experienced, its clients have experienced such mental health struggles and issues. The mental health baggage, if you will, and I don't mean to say that so lightly or disrespectfully, but that our clients are coming in with is exponentially, like, so much heavier than what we've experienced previous to these past 3 years. Prior to this past year, we were able to serve those needs with master level students that were supervised by a clinician. However, because of the increased need of mental health services, Wings has finally been able to create its own adult counseling program. And as of fiscal year 23, as of July 1st, we've been able to create and implement an adult counseling program with 5 counselors that will serve the entire agency through county and through the city of Chicago, serving those adults, the head of the household, with their mental health needs. Of course, those programs are still supported by our children's advocates that take care of all of the children. Wings has, in fiscal year 22, we've served 987 individuals with over 107,000 nights of shelter. And in the past 5 years, that's the first time that we've exceeded 100,000 nights. In fiscal year 22, we also hit our millionth night in our history. Wings is now about 37 and a half years old, and so we've exceeded 1 million nights of shelter. So we are, as you can see, we are asking for a modest increase of 12%, and that is just because the needs, unfortunately, are not going away. While we would like to think that, we would like to put ourselves out of a job, and I think I even said that last year to you folks, is that while that's not happening, we are still seeking this additional support from you. All of the funds, Wings is able to, with our fiscal structure, we are able to make sure that the Maine Township funds stay with just Maine Township clients. regardless of where they're served. If they're served in the community-based services, if they're served in our suburban safe house, or even in our City of Chicago safe house, or in our transitional, any of our housing programs. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, and so I'm happy to answer any questions. Wings is very appreciative, like I said in the very beginning. We're just very appreciative of your continued support, and your support will allow us to continue to offer these services to your residents. Of course, if for whatever reason we're not able to get an increase and we're not able to receive funding, we would continue to serve Maine Township residences just through our operating funds. I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, I'll just jump in with a question here. I became familiar with Wings through your resale shop, but I don't really see it mentioned in here, your resale shop, in terms of what funding that generates, or if that's part of your fundraising efforts. How does that fit in, and what, if any, amount of funding does that generate?
It does actually, and I apologize that I did not include it in there. We do have 4 resale stores across county in Chicago, and that brings in around $2.2 million total. And what that does is it completely supports all of our programming. And it also supports it in a cash basis, but it also supports it in an in-kind basis, because anytime of our clients come through any of our programs, community-based or housing, they are able to go to our housing. We have vouchers, or through the in-kind donations, or the in-kind matches. They're able to have vouchers and go to the resale store and receive any of the things that they may need, housing or clothing otherwise. And many of our resale stores are, I don't want to say ran, but definitely very strongly supported by our volunteer base.
All right, other questions from board members? Yes.
What happens if a homeless individual comes to you but it's not due to domestic violence? Do you refer them somewhere? Do you see what you can do to help them?
We do have, we work through coordinated entry. So coordinated entry, allows us to do, and I apologize, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's a VI-SPDAT, and it tells us the priority of where they're at and their needs of their homelessness. Through our housing programs, we do offer homelessness, like traditional, I think it's called Code 1 for traditional homelessness. They are not able to go through our emergency shelters because that is specific for domestic violence, but they are able to go through the transitional, the rapid, or the permanent supportive.
Are there like waiting lists for that, or would they be taken right away, or are there waiting lists?
There is not a waiting list, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you for your time.
All right, Evan, can you tell us who is next to tonight's presentation?
We are going to jump ahead and invite Greg Davenport from North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic.
Oh, all right, fine. North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic, it's just one more in our packet. All right, hi, how are you?
Good evening.
Good. So, as you may have heard me say before, we have your packet here. We've had a chance to look at it. If you'd like to take 5 minutes to perhaps supplement that, and then we'll have a few minutes for questions.
Well, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Greg Davenport. I am the Director of Development at the North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic. We are a charitable organization here in the North Suburbs. We provide free legal services in the areas of domestic violence, housing, and immigration. Our clients live in the service area of suburban Cook County and all of Lake County. Income requirements exist for our immigration and housing practices. It is to be at or below 250% of the federal poverty level. For just a rough estimate, it's about a little less than $70,000 a year for a family of 4. There are no income requirements for a survivor of domestic violence, as a survivor may not have access to familial assets. In addition to the direct legal services provided by our staff attorneys, we also have a pro bono team that engages volunteer attorneys throughout the community and really helps scale our services in all the practice areas and as well as the educational outreach. I'd like to thank the Maine Township for being a consistent supporter of our work. In the past years, as we say, NSLAC has grown significantly. We started in 2015 with a handful of staff and a shoestring budget to, as we approach the end of 2022, we have more than 30 full-time staff We will open more than 1,500 cases this year, and as services being provided by a staff team that includes 19 licensed attorneys. To give comparison of that growth and some benchmarks, in 2019, we opened 945 cases in our service area, so again, to exceed 1,500 in 2022 is significant growth. This increase is not just across our service area, but here too in Maine Township. For some estimates, in 2019, we opened 62 cases for Maine Township residents. In 2021, we saw that spike to 119 cases, really fueled by a surge in the domestic violence practice. As we are projecting out 2022, we estimate to still open over 100 cases here from Maine Township residents. We're also very excited to see that our collaboration with Maine Township is not just with cases open and individuals served. We started to partner on programs and services too. Many might be aware that we had an event here recently. It was for the mainstreamers. It was a power of attorney seminar that was led by our pro bono team. And so the seminar, for those that were not able to attend, just talked about the importance of having a power of attorney with you for especially healthcare and property reasons, and it answered questions about just the, when does this take an effect? What type of decisions can that person make for me? What powers do they have? It was left behind some of the public documentation that anyone participating that day could take on their own, but also a sheet of frequently asked questions. I had a chance to catch up with Nicole Minnis, our program manager, afterwards. She loved the partnerships, appreciates the support, and I'll be very open to coming back to do a full power attorney clinic for income-eligible clients too. In addition to the growth of case volume, we've also been able to take on more complex cases. So an example of that would be with our work with asylum. Asylum is one of the most time-consuming and complex forms of immigration relief. So if you think about a year ago, there was a significant world events where we had a number of Afghan refugees resettling here in the Cook County and Lake County area. And asylum is a process that we've taken on, which is very time intensive for the immigration team. That's in addition to also looking for temporary protected status for Ukraine refugees as well. Locally for us, we had a major event this summer. Our office is in Highland Park. And so we were very involved in the response following the July 4th shooting. What that meant from a workflow standpoint is that we were there at the crisis room, the Family Assistance Center in the high school, often serving kind of as liaison for the immigrant community. But then in the aftermath too, there's a type of immigration relief called U visa for victims of crime. And from just our 2 weeks tabling at the high school, we had 200 families reach out and ask to be screened for U visa. And we've actually been able to take on this project through crisis relief funding from funders in the area, and also the help of our pro bono team. We've been offering Saturday clinics where we've screened upwards of 50 families each Saturday clinic. Looking forward, we have asked for a modest increase. It's really to be able to continue to maximize our services and continue seeing this growth within the Maine Township area. We greatly appreciate your support and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions that relate to the application.
Great, thanks very much. A couple of us were actually at that power of attorney presentation. We're very pleased to see it. I thought it was interesting, that's not one of the three areas that you really typically offer services in. Usually it's just domestic violence, immigration, housing. So I was wondering, how it was. I mean, we were delighted to have it, and I was just wondering, are there other areas that you're branching out into or not? Or how does that work?
For our practice areas with staff attorneys, we would still focus on those three. Pro bono gives us a little flexibility to take on different things. And if you think about the power of the pro bono attorney, the volunteer attorney, oftentimes we're looking for discrete one-day activities to become engaged. This is a great service that we've seen match up. That power of attorney clinic too, though, can also be very important with the immigrant community, so that works out, so it does overlap with some of the practice areas. Ways that we considered and started talking about for future expansion potentially, but this is just more on the brainstorm phases. We've had more requests for elder care and talking about what does that look like. We've been invited to a number of senior living facilities to do the power training clinics, but then we've also been approached with more complex work beyond that. And so that's been a discussion, but it will also be needs to be well thought out because we want to be able to fund projects that will continue for the long term versus taking on one short-term startup opportunities to go through.
We have a large immigrant population here in Maine Township. And some of them, I believe, would benefit from speaking with an attorney about immigration issues. But can you tell me what, if any other languages other than English, do your attorneys speak, your immigration attorneys?
So on staff, we have multiple speakers that are fluent in Spanish. We have Polish, Urdu, and I listed in the application, but I'm missing one.
Okay.
Polish,
Sorry,
Urdu,
it's in here.
French, and Spanish, I believe. And then we also work with different aligned partners if needed for additional translators. And so if we have partners at the Muslim Women's Resource Center, when we were going through a lot of the work around the African refugees, we would work with them to arrange times that we could have translators either on-site or virtually through those processes.
Okay, Director Martinez, have other questions? And board members?
No, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And for those who didn't hear me before, there is coffee in the next room if you would like to have some. All right. Evan, can you tell me who's up next?
Yes, next we're going to have Sandy Henderson with Miracle House.
All right, Miracle House. All right, fine. Well. Thank you, Sandy, for coming up. As you may have heard me tell others, if you'd like to supplement your application with about 5 minutes of comment, we'd be glad to hear them, and then we may have some questions.
Sure.
Okay, I'm Sandy from Miracle House, and our mission is to provide temporary housing for women in addiction, or recovering from addiction. This year I know we have asked for $10,000, and that is in preparation of having to replace our basement stairs and draw this cement. Plus they have asked us to put kind of like a fence around it because it's like our main stairs are here and the basement is right here. And since we're getting more and more senior meeting goers, we don't want anybody to fall down. We've had our own residents fall down, so we know how easy it is. And this year, our fundraising, in June, we had our garage sale, which we received about $1,800, which is about average. This Saturday, we had the Kiwanis Peanut Day, and we share with them, we split with them. In the last couple of years, we've gotten $500 for it, so it's pretty good for us. And then our next outing will be October 1st, or fundraiser, I should say. And we're having our fall festival where we have a chili cook-off and a bonfire for the evening and just fellowship. We have 3 residents at this time. We just lost 2. One to drinking, and I think the other one just left on her own. And we've had some financial upsets this year. We hired a manager who was one of our alumni, and within a week she stole from the house and from the residents. So as a business, we actually paid back the 2 residents that were there, and just wait. They wanted to press charges, so we did press charges. So I spent a lot of time in court this summer. The other thing that we had a problem with is our financial officer.
If we could stop you for just a minute, is there something with the tape that needs to be?
Oh, no, I was just turning off the beeper.
Sorry. Sorry.
Our financial officer, we found, was taking money from our income. And when I sat down and talked to her, she admitted it right away. And we are in the middle of just training her. And so our other financial officer had moved to Arizona last summer. So she's been helping out as much as possible. She still does our taxes for us. And she's the one that actually found there was money being taken. And, because I don't see the bank accounts normally, I do now. And it's heartbreaking because these are alumni and, you know, these are people that we thought were better. And so, however, we gave her a year to pay it back, and she paid back in 6 months. So whether somebody helped her or she just got a job or what, I don't know, but she made good, and she's still welcome at the house. She's just no longer on the board, and when she volunteers, she can't touch money.
Anything else you'd like to tell us about Miracle House?
Yes, Miracle House is, the building is, we sleep 5 women. We have 5 beds, and then a manager. We have 2 managers that we pay, and they're the only paid employees that we have. And they work 1 week on, 1 week off. And they're there to basically work with the women. They help them not really find a job, but reassure them that they're out there, tell them how to get around the places, because some people don't know Des Moines. And when they have problems cooking, they help out with that too, because many of these women come in and they don't know how to cook, or they don't remember how to cook, you know, because they're not all young. And we have, it's usually it's a very cozy home, you know, that I do have to say for her. I mean, I love the house. I mean, everything about it. And they have rules that they have to follow. Like every night they have to be in by 6 p.m. at the dinner table, because everybody has to be there at the same time. In the morning, they're requested to leave at 8 a.m. And if they don't have a job, they need to be out there looking for a job. And we have job logs so that we can follow up to make sure that they are actually looking. They pay rent once a week, $110. And we don't turn anybody away if they can't pay when they come in. We do work with them, try to keep them up a little bit. They have, well, it used to be 2 weeks to find a job, but with the economy and everything, we've been getting them up to a month. And so we help them as much as we can that way. And then they have, you know, general housekeeping. They're there to learn how to learn how to go back into the world, to know they have to be accountable for themselves. They have to be accountable to their jobs. And, you know, so they have their chores. They have to clean the house every day. You know, they separate the chores, of course. And on the weekends, it's a deep clean. And we have meetings there every day except Mondays, night I should say. And these women are required to go to all the meetings that we have there, because it's 90 days meetings, you know, 90 and 90. And they pretty much do. And we work along with the Alano Club and the First Step House in Des Moines, also the 12-Step House in the city. We actually all kind of work together. And
I do want to give people a chance to ask some questions.
Sure, absolutely.
So, George, do have any other questions?
Maybe you mentioned, how long are these women allowed to be at Miracle House?
We ask for a 3-month stay when they come in. However, we've had some residents stay up to a year. I mean, we don't kick them out if we don't feel that they're ready to go. And, you know, most of them, they have to have some kind of financial background so they can at least get an apartment or a room somewhere. And so we go with that. And, you know, if we find that they're just sticking around because they don't want to be bothered, then yes, we kind of encourage them to move out.
Okay, all right. Any board member questions?
Just a question. 80% of your funding is from private donors, and Des Moines gives you nothing? The city of Des Moines, you get nothing from them? You're in Des Moines, right?
Yes, we are.
Nothing from Des Moines?
Only from Maine Township.
Work on that. Okay, and that's, so it's like, and you've survived at least since 2018 on a budget of only $59,000, right?
Yes. This year was a little bit lower because we didn't have as many residents. They're still getting over this pandemic.
It's pretty impressive to last that long.
Yes, it is.
Congratulations.
And I have one question. Last year, I know you had a lot of openings. How has that changed over the past year? Are you still finding there's a lot of openings, or has that gotten any better?
To fill the beds?
Yes.
Yes, it has been a little bit better, but it was a very slow start in the year. I would say in the last 2 months, 3 months maybe, we've had up to 5 girls in the house. And we love it when it's full because it just makes everything run even smoother.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Okay, and let's see, Evan, who do we have next?
Alrighty, we're gonna jump back to Frederick Smith from Family Behavioral Health.
All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Smith. As you may have heard me tell other speakers, we'd like you to perhaps supplement what we have in your written application, which we all have had for a little while now, with any additional comments after 5 minutes, and then we may have some questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Fred Smith. I'm the Administrator of Community Services for Beverly Academy Family Behavior Health Clinic. Part of my tardiness, I'm not sure if everyone caught the news, one of the programs that we operate in Maryville is a diagonal across the street from the building that exploded in the city of Chicago earlier this morning. So I was kind of stuck there with making sure, it's where our recovery home is located at Franklin Parenting Moms that has contact with DCFS. So I was up and moving them to our other location to make sure that they are safe and well cared for. So again, apologies for my tardiness. Family Behavior Health Clinic began services in the Des Plaines location in 2014. We provide services for mental health and substance use services, also for DUI services, and also for court-ordered anger management. We provide services for adolescents, adults, and families. We also have added, since the last time we submitted an application, we've also added our mental health services back. We've also added a Spanish-speaking mental health provider, and we've also added a Spanish-speaking substance use provider. We also have a Polish-speaking substance use provider as well. We are looking to add extended services for parenting classes for moms that's dealing with substance use issues. We've learned from working with our recovery home that moms that's dealing with substance use issue, sometimes the parent can still start to lack because of the substance use. We all know that no one wakes up in the morning and say they want to be addicted to any type of substance, but unfortunately it does play a role in our society. And what we've learned is that moms who are dealing with substance use issue has that gap when it comes to parenting services to their kids. So we want to work with them and educate them on how to re-engage back with the family, that when it comes to them recovering from the substance use. So that's one thing that we're adding new this year. We're also looking to add classes for toddlers in the age group of 5 to 8 years old with play therapy. We've also learned from our parent and teen centers that we have a lot of kids who are dealing with it in that age group of the pandemic and how to come back out of it and work with them to have them to re-engage with only their peers and also with their family members. Another thing that we have learned is that with the overdose epidemic, on August 31st, we partnered with the Des Plaines Library and did an education seminar on Narcan. And we were there for 2.5 hours and provided training to the community at the Des Plaines Library in partnership with them and educate the community on how to use Narcan and what the importance of it is and how it can save an individual life. We understand from the data is that the first individual who usually come in contact with someone that's experiencing overdose is usually a close friend or a family member. And to be able to educate the public on how to utilize Narcan, we felt was very important. And we had an extremely great day. We had approximately 45 individuals come out to the Des Plaines Library and receive learn how to use Narcan and go through the training. One of the questions we generally got asked that day was that, what is the effect of giving someone Narcan if they are not having an overdose? It absolutely has zero effect. It only attacks to reciprocals if the individual is having an active overdose. So we felt that it was really important to educate the community on that. We also partnered on the same day with the Rite Hospital and did the same training in the Austin community, which had one of the highest overdose rates within the state of Illinois. They had over 181 overdoses just in the Austin community in the last fiscal year. So we felt that was really important, not only for our Des Plaines community partners, but also with our city community partners as well. We also did that exact same training with our high school, Gen High School, and we are looking to partner with other community partners within the Des Plaines and Park Ridge area to further educate the community on what the effects of overdose is and how Narcan can save lives. So that's where we're at now, currently at the Family Behavioral Health Plan. We also are bringing back psychiatry services. Currently, we're going to be offering it in the short term as telehealth, and we're looking to bring it back actively into the clinic. The first appointment for anyone that will be receiving psychiatry service will be an in-person appointment with the psychiatrist, and follow-up services will be via telehealth services once per month. Before any prescriptions is reordered. Our psychiatrists also want individuals to be involved with some type of treatment before receiving any type of medication, whether it's for substance use or if it's mental health services. Because we've learned through data again is that sometimes we have people who look for prescriptions without receiving services. And we believe in conjunction with receiving services and a prescription would help the individual recover better.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Smith. Yeah, just as an aside, the public presentations that you give, I think we might be interested in them too. I've asked you to talk to myself or to Richard here about that in the future. But aside from that, I do want to ask, do any of the board members have any questions based on the application and presentation we've heard this evening? Or any department heads? Yes.
Could you let us know how long your wait list is currently for services and comment on staff retention and staffing levels you've been experiencing?
We actually are fully staffed at this current moment. We have 2 licensed clinicians for mental health services. We have 3 licensed CACDs. As I mentioned, we have a Spanish-speaking CACD and a Polish-speaking CACD. We have a Spanish-speaking mental health provider. And again, we're bringing back our psychiatry services. So currently at this moment, we are fully staffed on both sides of the clinic. We call it both sides. One side serves mental health and the other service substance use. But we also provide service for current if the individual is dealing with mental health and substance use issue. Some individuals have a mental health issue and subsidize the effect of mental health, whether it's anxiety or depression, with a substance use to self-medicate. So when we do have co-occurrence, we treat both of them at the same time.
What about wait list times currently?
Currently for mental health and substance use, we do not have a wait list. And again, the psychiatry service will begin on this coming Monday. Again, first appointments is in person. Subsequent appointments after those will be via telehealth. And they must be in treatment. The treatment does not have to be, the person will have to be seen at Family Behavioral Health Clinic, but they will have to be seen somewhere.
Just get the drugs.
Right.
You can't just come in.
Exactly. We don't want anyone just coming in and say, oh, I need to restrict because I'm going to this. We want them to be in services. Again, services do not have to be Family Behavioral Health Clinics, as long as psychiatry can verify that he or she is in some type of services.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right, Evan, can you tell me where we are on the list?
Wonderful. Alrighty. Up right now is going to be Jennifer Hamilton and Marie Schultz with Rite Family Service Mental Health Center.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you like to step up to the microphone?
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes, you probably didn't hear me say the other people who were here earlier. We all have your applications, which we've had a chance to look at. If you'd like to take about 5 minutes to supplement that, and then we'll have a little time for questions.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for having us here. My name is Jennifer Hamilton. I am the new CEO of Light and Family Service, effective August 1st. I have worked there for 24 years. It was my first job out of grad school. Bruce Seawick retired at the end of July, so I was appointed to take over that role. And Marie Scholl, who's also been with the agency for a long time, is our Director of Mental Health, running all of our clinical programs. So we have one of the biggest things we want to tell you about that we're doing lately is our crisis program. You've heard on the news probably about the 988 number. So we have a program that covers those areas with a 24-hour crisis line. The team is mobile. They will go out to wherever the area is. We do cover this area for that crisis. Now the state is still working out a lot of the kinks with how to get the calls to us, but we've got the team ready and available, and they are getting some calls and responding to those crises. Yeah, Marie, do you have anything you want to add about crisis or the other ones?
You know, just that it's also staffed by recovery support specialists, so it's folks who have had their own mental health and substance use issues who are further along in their recovery so that they can inspire hope. And it's a nice way to engage clients who might be reluctant to engage in services. So that's been a wonderful asset, I think, to our programs.
And we have relied on your support for the last 8 years. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. The numbers in here don't exactly reflect the numbers that we have, because a couple of our programs, specifically the crisis program and also our living room program, those programs do not collect data on people.
That are just free of charge, so no charge to the participant, and just no red tape, no insurance needed. You don't need to provide any information. You can just come in and get the help that you need.
So although we know how many people there have been, we don't ask their address. Part of the process. Let's see, what was the other thing I wanted to share about that? Just some of the struggles we've had, during COVID that your funding has helped us with so much. We continue to have to buy the PPP equipment, especially for our inpatient substance facility, the SHARE program in Hoffman Estates. Continued costs on that, continued costs on technology, doing remote services when we have to. We still have not closed any programs. We have remained open the whole time. There have been some temporary changes that made services hybrid, but we did stay open and keep doing all of our important services. Our services are not ones that you can always do at home. There's people who need medicine, they need money, and they need help grocery shopping, and we're there to help with all those things. I don't know if I have anything else new and exciting to share.
Okay, all right. Do you have any questions from the department heads?
I wonder if we could also comment on the same question about staffing challenges, openings, and current wait list times.
Yes, thank you. That has been very difficult due to the behavioral health workforce shortage in so many areas that we know of. We are struggling to hire staff. We have a couple ways we're trying to address that. We did adjust our salary scale to be more kind of in line with the field. That we just did that in the last few weeks. We have hired on a couple people since then, so I think that's going to be helpful, and we're going to continue to see that trend moving forward. And of course, having more staff will allow us to serve more people, which will also make us more financially sound.
What about wait list times?
Oh, I'm sorry. We do have about 82 people on our outpatient therapy wait list. We're not accepting any more people on that wait list right now. That felt incredibly unfair to me to put people on this long, never-ending list for them to think they're about to get services when they really are so many months probably away from it. But we are hiring in that department.
And luckily, I have to say, thank goodness for our living room, because we have been able to tell people who are needing services but either are on a wait list that you can come to our living room, you don't need an appointment, just show up and we'll help you. So that's been very
tough. Our aftercare services do not have a wait list. That's the services for the people with more serious and persistent mental illness. So the PSR, psychosocial rehabilitation, the group therapy program, there's no wait list for that. We have clinicians there who can help people right away. We have a peer support center that's really helpful to people, no wait list for that. A transitional living program, we have openings in. We're accepting referrals for that. And SHARE also does not have a wait list.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
But the people served are still pretty much dispersed between Hanover, Lyden, and Maine Townships, is that right?
Yes,
So you get funding,
yes.
so.
Absolutely. The majority is certainly Lyden Township, you know.
Right.
But-
Okay.
Yeah, and then I would say the second biggest is Maine Township, and Hanover would be the smaller side.
Okay, and then it's about the same contribution, well, they probably, Maine is the ones, okay? Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Those are the two.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Evan, who do we have next on our list?
Alrighty, next we'll have Susie Fresco, Johnson Center. Sorry.
I'm Michael Schultz, Clinical Officer at the Johnson Center. I've been with the Johnson Leonard Center for 6 years, and in those times, the whole time there, we've had a care coordination, integrated kind of working relationship with things and different things there. I want to speak a little to that relationship and exhibit our application. We have a dedicated Dr. Springer, APRN, that's dedicated to Maine Township residents 1 day a week on Mondays. We kind of run an integrated kind of care coordination clinic with Richard's team, giving people direct access to obviously psychiatric care, making sure they get the support, scheduling, medications they need, and also just wants to be able to the quality of that. It's really integrated. We talk to Richard's team on at least a monthly basis. We have a dedicated case manager to the township, make sure they're seeing Richard's team, communicating to therapists, communicating to doctors. It really is an integrated clinic. We've done, I think this is our 6th year now. Dr. Frick might be on our 3rd. Right to the 3 years here dedicated this to Maine residents. That seems to be working very smoothly.
You don't actually send anyone out here to Maine Township.
We did before, she was coming here before COVID. One of the things too, to kind of work for storage too, and also it's hard to explain a lot of the back end, and even the doctor, between the scheduler, the lab person, all the other things, sometimes that's hard to bring back. But currently she's still remote, but before COVID she was coming back.
Is there any plan to have someone come back here?
That's going to be a good question in terms of some of the workforce thing. I mean, the plan is that if we can do that, we can definitely offer that back. Currently, just on the need of hiring a workforce, it's hard to get a doctor to be in one place at one time.
We did a survey of the clients from Maine Township. Very few wanted to return to in person.
So currently, the resident wants to see in person. I think this covered 4 clients, 4 residents, and they come to the Johnson Clinic. So
They go to the Johnson.
Yeah, they can be
So
seen in person.
they're seen in person, but not here.
Correct. They always
You're in Northbrook now, right?
We're in, still in between Northfield and Northbrook.
You're both places?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have a new office that you just opened, right?
We have a new building in Northbrook, and also we have a whole facility in Waukegan now. So we have a facility, a full functioning facility in Waukegan.
Okay.
A newer building in Northbrook. It's currently housing some administrative staff. But the clinic where the psychiatrists are is off Willow Road, so it's not too difficult with public transportation to get there. But I believe only 10% of the population here is asked. 10% of the population for psychiatry is asking for this. Besides the clinic here, some of the newer things at Johnson, we have an adolescent IOP. Very similar to some of the for-profit ones, Rogers or Compass in the area. It purposely serves low-income families or families that are Medicaid or families that are struggling to afford care. This is kind of a model where you come 3 days a week, 3 hours for care. There's coordination with schools and different stuff like that with a dedicated psychiatrist in that program, a dedicated APRN. It's currently also serving residents in as big as 13, 18, something we launched in the last year that we did not have previously. And then some other services that the residents are getting another, I think we went from 200 to 250 residents, so we're about a 25% increase in that that's been consistent with for over a couple of years, a number of folks just looking for help. And most of those folks are coming for therapy, seeing a doctor. We also have a kind of employment services, case management, community support, a living room program. But in some they're basically coming for what basically a lot of people have been traumatized and they're just coming for help and support. So basically they're seeing therapists and also getting some psychiatric care. For residents currently in our center, they're quite offered, I think we have 10 total prescribers now. We also have kind of a residency program with Rush where we have fellows and residents coming through and doing practice. So people have really really diverse access to pretty diverse staff, but also can meet the needs of the community. I think in total we have about 24 bilingual clinicians. And currently we have probably over 100 that we consider therapists with very backgrounds, expressive therapies, counselors, registered nurses. It's a pretty diverse group. Just giving you some ideas about what you might ask about wait lists. We get about 60 inquiries a day for treatment. I would estimate, based on our numbers, your population is about 10% of our current open clients. So there's usually 5 to 6 Maine residents calling on a given day inquiring for help. Currently, depending on what they're asking for, it's more just trying to triage the number. If we have a wait list, or now it's a little short, we have about 20 interns to start. We're dealing with 60 clients. Let's say there's 200 people that called them last week. We're trying to triage them as fast as we can. But sometimes, depending on what they're asking for, there is no way to get an assessment and get started. Sometimes there could be a slight wait in terms of getting a therapist. Max surgery that would be 4 weeks, but in some sense it could be a lot shorter for coordinating care. Maybe still someone calling and get something. Usually we're triaging folks pretty fast and they're flexible on time.
Okay, do we have any questions from the department heads? Or from our board members?
Did you say your name is Michael Schultz?
Yeah, Michael Schultz.
Okay, same name as Marie.
That's my wife.
Oh, okay.
We've been in community mental health. I've been in community mental health for 30 years.
Okay.
Actually, 30 years ago we met at the agency where she currently works.
Oh,
We had an agency couple, and I kind of went administratively, and she started her family and just went back.
nice. I just noticed. Very nice.
Okay.
I had a question real quick. Northfield Township, you guys are located in that township, they give us 68,000.
New Trier Township.
You're in New Trier Township?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, we have more clients coming from Maine Township than we do our own township.
Okay. Looks like you're getting a contribution from several townships too, right?
Yes.
You got Wheeling Township, Maine Township.
Yes, we serve over 100 zip codes, so there's a number of townships that we support.
Yeah, it's just West Deerfield as well. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Adam?
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, next we're at Northwest Compass with Sonia and
I'm Molly now. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We have been receiving funding from Maine Township for many, many years and greatly appreciate it. We are located in North Prospect, but we serve the Northwest community in general. Most of you probably are aware of what we do. It's like we help anybody in our community that has some kind of economic, personal,
I'm
or
sorry, I'm
housing
having
issues.
trouble hearing you. Can you just slow down a little bit and talk into the mic?
Okay. Do you want, we serve anybody in our community that has some personal, economic, or housing issues. But most of our services are related to services regarding housing. We support people that experience homelessness or any type of housing instability and housing crisis. But whenever somebody experiences those type of issues, it's always so many other barriers and challenges that they face. That's why we have a variety of programs that stabilize the individuals or help them overcome crisis, regain hope, and empowering them through a variety of services that can help them look for career coaching, employment services, job readiness program, money management, and life skills, legal assistance, and so forth. Because it's like whenever somebody experiences some type of crisis, the support system that we offer and provide, it's more about like a care coordination and wraparound services that really not help a person only through the issue that they enter the door, but also try to help them for general well-being and general support. We have like a huge food pantry, including meat and eggs and so forth. We have a very robust money management program, especially now those days whenever the prices of gas, food, and rent are rising. A lot of people are struggling meeting their financial obligation, and it's more about like debt reduction and trying to save more money and trying to be more frugal and resourceful and so forth. Our housing counselors definitely try to work with landlords mitigation, rent assistance, navigation through the system. We have a variety of housing programs, transitional living, permanent supportive housing. One of our buildings is located in the Plains downtown area, and we have 8 units there. We also have a couple of different apartments rented through the entire Maine Township, that it's like clients of ours stay for a period of time until they regain some stability. And one of our newest programs that we started probably 5-6 years ago is strictly geared towards youth 18 to 24 years of age. Because we found out that it's like even though they're adult, they're considered adults, most of them lack support and any stability whatsoever. Some of them are coming out of the foster care system, some of them have a family that are struggling with a variety of issues and keep them out. Some that are expressing like their sexuality and are no longer accepted in their family and so forth. And we started a program which we call it HYPE, helping youth on a path to empowerment, because they really need very, very targeted, specific services. And sometimes for a very short period of time, it's like they really can be kind of enroll in some kind of apprenticeship program or start like classes and get some certificates and some additional help. And with a very short but targeted individual assistance, they regain stability and very productive member of the society. And another program that it's like we usually very much advocated for, it's something that we call it helping hands. With a lot of the fundings, all the dollars and financial assistance is very, very restricted, and sometimes very little amount of money can change the trajectory of somebody's life. Just for example, it's like last month we helped a lady take her CNA test to start working in a nursing home. 2 weeks ago, we helped a veteran that was living in his car to pay his car insurance, and he started driving for Uber. I mean, it's kind of with a little amount of money, people can really start changing the situation they're in and try to do better for themselves and the society in general. And it's like we have most of our programs are geared towards, as I said again, wraparound services. It's not just what clients are coming through our door get assistance with, but also we're trying to do individual, very comprehensive assessment to try to figure it out what else they can benefit from.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board members? No. Okay, department heads, Austin?
You're an 8-unit building that resides within Maine Township.
Yes.
Do they have to be 18 to 24 to stay there? Or
Yes, we have at this point in time, we have 3 households that are 18 to 24.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Up 92%, it's an impressive increase. From last year, you're up 92%.
Yes. It's
You're a good advocate.
Thank you, I greatly appreciate it. I mean, it's like something that I didn't mention. We were one of the very, very few organizations that they stay open and meet people in person during the entire pandemic. Because it's like most of the clients that come to us, they don't do well with Zoom, and it's like they don't have the ability to do anything else. That's why our doors were open the entire time, and we even started placing homeless people in a hotel because our shelter was not accepting people. And we took a toll on our staff, of course, but also was a great opportunity for growth.
Tony, could you comment a little bit more on some of the options for housing instability or homelessness? That seems to be such a difficult problem to address. It's underserved. When folks come to you, what are some of the solutions that you can offer them related to?
Everyone that comes to us, it's like a goes through comprehensive assessment just to find out it's like what their current situation is. And then it's like we have a variety of different options. It's like obviously we have our 3 housing programs. One is permanent supportive housing, one is transitional living program, and one is the youth housing demonstration grant. But in case that we don't have any openings in all of those units, there is another route that the client can go through. It's something which we call like a housing navigation and homelessness diversion. And I don't want to throw terms on you, but it's like it's easy for us to try to distinguish all those 2 different things. The housing navigation and homelessness diversion, it's more geared towards helping someone pay their back rent or secure an apartment paying the first month and security deposit. And we use like some state funding to do so. Also, we work with another housing providers in the area because we're a member of the Alliance to End Homelessness, and we are part of an initiative which is called Coordinated Entry. And through the coordinated entry, it's like we do specific assessment depending on the client situation, and we're trying to match them with services with other housing providers. Even though it's extremely difficult, as you know, the rents are very high in our area. Some of the apartment managements, they require 3 times amount of rent a person to make even to do an application. The application are costly, and if somebody needs to go and apply in a couple of different places, it's like that they basically have no other financial support whatsoever. We are trying to negotiate with some landlords. We have like a different relationship with a few apartment managements that it's like we are trying to advocate for the clients, and especially whenever we pay their rent for a couple of months, it's like the landlord is a little bit open to negotiate. And another program that we had in the last like probably year or so, it's something which is called rapid rehousing. It's like obviously people have to qualify to get this, but if they're part of the program, we can pay their rent or portion of their rent for a couple months until they're stable. And also, it's like the last year, the state had this emergency rent assistance program and homeowners assistance program for somebody that rents, it's kind of on their home, that we facilitate those type of programs and we're able to help people apply for those type of fundings.
Okay.
But it's a great question. Unfortunately, there is no easy answer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the support.
All right, I think we will take a little break here unless we've heard something from Peer Services as to when.
Yeah, they're in the restroom right now.
Okay, so we'll just take a 5-minute break. All right, we are back from our break, and we would now like to hear from Peer Services, Inc. We have a representative or 2 here.
Yes, we'll have Ann Brown and Ryan Richards.
All right, please go ahead and step up to the microphone over here. And I've been asking other agencies to give us perhaps a 5-minute supplement to your application, which we already have here, and then we may have some questions. Sure. Thank you.
I'm Ann Brown. I'm the Development Director at Peer Services.
And I'm Ryan Richards. I'm the Director of Operations at Peer Services. Thank you. And we just wanted to start today by, first of all, thanking you for your support of Peer Services. Give a little quick background about us. We're a substance use prevention and treatment service program in Evanston, Illinois. We are a safety net provider of substance use disorder treatments. We accept all clients, regardless of insurance status or ability to pay for services. We are proud to serve Maine Township residents, and your support is essential and vital in helping us do so. We would like to start by providing an updates on our leadership transition at Peer Services, which we did described in the application as well. We transitioned from Maureen McDonald, who was our longtime executive director of 4.5 years, I believe. Earlier this year, she stepped down. And we did transition to Jennifer Kohler, who was our new executive director starting in March of this year. We kind of quickly determined that Jennifer really wasn't the right fit at Peer Services, and Jennifer and the board did decide mutually to part ways. And since then, we have begun our search again for another executive director. And we had some wonderful candidates just first time around, and we are excited to announce that we have found and identified a wonderful new executive director, Noy Fryo Lopez. It will be starting November 1st.
Apparently, Emmett knows him. Well, he was just here. Oh, fraternity. This is a small world.
I started off we thought the same thing, honestly.
I think they're peers, those two guys are peers. They know all about each other.
So it sounds like you guys already may know Noy. He's currently the Chief Clinical Officer at Turning Point, psychologist, clinical psychologist with over 20 years of experience, including substance use counseling. We're beyond excited to have him start with us.
They know he's leaving, right?
Alter egos.
Peer now shares space at Turning Point in Skokie. That's our satellite office. And Anne Rainey is the executive director of Turning Point, has been a really close partner with Peer. And so we're doing a lot of different things with them. And she did recommend that Noy apply for the position. So I think he is formally announcing it to the board next week. But we feel very grateful, not only that Noy is coming over to Peer, but also that Anne is so supportive of that. So, great. So I wanted to take a moment to share just a few quick stories about how your support is helping Maine Township residents. So I wanted to start with a teenager who was referred to Peer by one of the schools and was using marijuana. The teenager ended up in our early intervention program, which is for people who have a challenge with substance use, but they are not addicted. So he began working with a counselor at Peer who worked with him to identify triggers for use. And for this teen, they were being around friends who were using and feeling stressed. And it was a teen who really put a lot of pressure on himself and was really hard on himself about things in general and about his substance use. The counselor also helped him identify coping mechanisms like mindfulness to address those situations and to really sort of tune in to how he's feeling in specific situations to help him be more mindful of feelings and be able to address those triggers and not let them lead to use. The counselor also helped him to think about his future goals, to put everything in context and better understand the consequences of his use or stopping use. The client experienced a setback during treatment, but he was able to talk about that with our counselor, and they went back to what they had been working on. At the end of treatment, he was no longer using, back in school, and working on sports again, and hopefully also had some more coping skills for not being so hard on himself. Another example is an older adult client in our medication-assisted treatment program for clients with opioid use disorders. This is a client who came to us in 2017, and she was experiencing significant health challenges. Our clinician who described her to me said she was really at death's door when she came to us, and she didn't have a doctor at the time, and she didn't have health insurance. So she was also using heroin. Our clinician explained that she could have OT'd, and that would have been the end of it at any time. So once she was a Peer, our therapists also serve as case managers. So they play that dual role. They connected her with a doctor and got her onto insurance so that they would address the health needs first. She enrolled in our medication-assisted treatment program and began using medication, which is methadone, to address her heroin use. It took her about a year and a half to really taper down her use, which is not unusual. And she has been in the program, I think, since 2019. She has not been using heroin. She has been continuing to come to the program. She now is at our least restrictive level, and she only comes in twice a month to receive both counseling and methadone, some of which she takes home. And she's feeling incredibly proud of herself. She has a part-time job. Her relationships with her family are positive. She's doing really well, and she's giving back and supporting others in our program who are in recovery. Your support is making stories like this possible. I also just want to note that our prevention team is really excited to come to Maine Township next month to partner on a presentation about pop culture and media influences for teen substance use. We're very grateful for this partnership that's allowing us both to support the residents in Maine Township.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions from our department heads? And from our board members?
What is the youngest that you serve?
Sure, 12 and up. It's unusual for us to have a client who's age 12. Most are in high school and above, but that is the lowest we can go.
Okay.
The program you mentioned is coming up. Do you know the date of that? If there's a presentation?
It'll be October 26th.
Okay.
From 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I believe we're at the end of our list for this evening. I'd just like to make one reminder announcement. Thursday this week will be our food pantry's grand reopening, and we invite our donors to it. So it's after work from 5 to 7. We'd just like to hop in and, have a little cake. It'd be great to see you. It's Thursday, yeah. I don't believe we have any other business this evening. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor? Oh, wait, give a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Nathan?
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.